Welcome to Michael's Scratch Project. We're going to create a new project and we're going to explore how to move the sprite and positions on the screen and look at some drawing features. So I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call this Move the Sprite. I'm going to save it with a new name. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the stage and the backdrops, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to choose a backdrop called XY grid that lets you see the position of the sprite on the screen. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to costumes, click on the little cat face at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to choose one of the balls. Not the basketball. Let's choose this purple ball. But you can choose any color. And then I'm going to trash the two cat costumes. I'm going to change the name to ball, and I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to call it, let's say 32. That's nice. All right. Now we go to the code block and we go to events, and I've been showing you how to use the green flag. But if you want to have different keys starting different projects or different code, you can choose a letter. So when A is pressed, we're going to first ask a question. And enter X position between minus 240 and plus 240. You don't have to enter the plus, but it is plus and this is minus. See, minus 240 is all the way on the left, and plus 240 for X is all the way on the right. Now I'm going to create two variables. I'm going to say make a variable for this sprite only, and I'm going to call it X value, and let's hide it. And I'm going to make a variable called Y value. And then I'm going to say set X value to answer, because answer is what you entered. I'm going to pull this down, right click, and I'm going to say duplicate, and then I'm just going to change this to Y position and finally I'm going to add a go to block, and I'm going to say go to And I'm go back to my variables. I'm going to drop X value in here, Y value in here, and then I'm going to save it. File, save now. So when I click the A, it should ask me, all right, so it asked me to enter an X and a Y. All right, and I have to change this to Y value. So let's add another block of code, and we want to enter the pen because we're going to draw lines. So we go back to events and we say when E is pressed, we go to the pen now and we say erase all in case we've drawn anything. And then we go back to events and we say when U is pressed, we're going to go to the pen block and we're going to say lift up the pen and motion, and we're going to go to 0, 0. All right. So if you look at what I have, you can copy your code. So if I type in U, it puts the ball right back in the middle. I type in A, and it's going to ask me enter X position between minus 240 and plus 240. So I want it to go 100 steps to the right, but I don't want it to go up. So it's still going to be at 0. Let's try this again. 100. All right, that's what it did. But now we want it to draw a line. So let's type U again to put it back to the center. All right, so we go to our pen block and we're going to set the pen color to red. The pen size to 3, and then we're going to put the pen down. So now if I do this, let's draw a big square around the center. So we're going to say A, and we're going to go to 100 for X position and 0 for Y position. You see it drew a red line? Type in A again, and now we want to be 100 to the right and 100 up. So I type in 100 100. All right, type in A one more time. And now we're going to be on the center line, but we're still going to be 100 up. So we type in A, type in 100. Oh, I think I want to be 0, 100. And finally, one more to take it back to 0, 0. And there, I've drawn a square. If I type in E, I've I've erased everything. So let's see if I can draw an equilateral triangle. I'm going to say A, and I'm tell it to go to 58 steps to the right and 0 steps up. Then I want it to go to here, this point, which is 0 steps to the right and 100 steps up. And I'm going to say go to 0, 100. Oh, this looks good. Then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to say go to, now I want to go minus 58 to the left. Minus 58 and 0. And then one more. 0, comma, 0. All right. So now I've drawn a triangle. So it's important that you understand the coordinates. If you had algebra in 7th, 8th, ninth grade, you will have seen this number line, the X and Y number lines. And if you haven't got that far, when you get it, you say, oh, I already know this. I learned about this in Scratch 2 years ago. Okay. So let's hit E for erase. Now we're going to add some more sprites. I'm going to add an apple sprite. And I'll make it size 40. And I can put my mouse on the apple and just move it around. I'm going to add one more sprite. We're going to add this little mouse sprite. And let's make him smaller. Make him a little bigger. Let's call him 66. Oh, that's good. All right. Now, what is the mouse going to do? We're going to learn something about moving the mouse. So we're going to go to code, going to go to events, and we're saying when M pressed, and we're going to looks and not looks, motion. And we're going to say point in direction of apple and then we're going to move it. How many steps do we want to move it? Okay. I'm going to copy this block that says backdrop number of stage, but I'm going to change stage to apple. And I think I may have want this. Oh, I don't want position of apple. I want distance. Okay. So what happens when I hit M? Whenever I hit M, the mouse goes to the apple. All right. Let's say the apple doesn't want to be eaten. We're going to go to the apple sprite, and we're going to go to events, and we're going to, when space clicked, and we're going to put a forever loop. And we're going to say forever, and we're going to have an if block. If, go to sensing, if touching mouse 1, what do we want to do? Oh, the apple has a sound. So we're going to start the sound chomp, which is, I don't know if you can hear it. It's a sound of somebody biting something. And then we're going to have the apple move away from the sprite. So we're going to go to motion, and we're just going to tell the apple to go to some random position, and then it's going to wait 1 second. So what happens now? Let's move the apple away from the mouse and hit the M. And every time I hit the M, every time I hit the M, the mouse tries to eat the apple, but the apple runs away. Okay. Now for the mouse, there's another way you can move things. You notice when I hit the M, the mouse really goes very fast. But say you wanted the mouse to go slowly, I could then add a different code. I'll go to events, and now let's say letter N, and then I'm going to have it point in the direction of the apple, but I'm going to try a different block. I'm going to glide 2 seconds, and then I go back to sensing, and I think I had this thing. I'm going to try 2 of these backdrop of stage, and each one I'm going to change it to apple, and tell it to glide to all right. So you can see now it moves slowly because it takes 2 seconds to get to the apple. Instead of moving the distance to the apple, it's going to move to the X position of the apple and the Y position of the apple. See, it every time the apple sees it's touching the mouse, the apple runs away. Now, to make this even more fun, I can put this whole block inside of forever block. Now, what happens now? The mouse is always chasing the apple, and the apple is always running away. All right, so I just hit the red stop sign. So let's review the code that I have. For the mouse, it's very simple. I just have 2 things. If I hit M, it just moves as fast as it can to the apple. And the apple is always checking. And if I hit the N as in Nancy, the mouse is always chasing the apple, and the apple is always running away. All right. So you can pause the video now and make sure you have this code for the mouse and this code for the apple and these 3 code blocks for the ball. You have the E for erase, U for pen up, and then we have the one to move the ball and draw a line. So that gives you some ideas of what you can do to move the mouse, move the sprite, and draw. And you can use this in a lot of your projects. And I'll see you in the next lesson.